So, I made a list showing the values of almost all the cards in the game of Age of Empires 3. I used a combined Villager Seconds formula to determine the value of these cards. Villager Seconds, or VS for short, is the lifeblood of AoE. It's used to build buildings, shoot while garrisoned, tank damage and fight, dance at the community plaza, pick up crates, or, most often, gather resources. Your resources can then be spent to harm enemies, protect yourself and your allies, or even gather more resources. At a base level, one villager gathers food fastest, coin second, and wood third. But even though resources can be scarce, and vills move more often when gathering different resources, I decided not to factor that into these values. Nor did I value anything on yield or infinite resources such as food from farms. This version of the list is not a finished version. It will receive updates in the future, and especially depending on feedback from people such as yourself. As for why I made it, well, anytime I started playing a Civ, I always wondered what their best cards were, so I eventually made a list for my mains, then the Civs I was interested in playing on the side, then Civs that had cool synergies with certain outlaws or natives. Then I had almost all of them anyway, so I just finished it all up. I like to think that this resource will help anyone who wants to play the game more competitively. Already it shows us why cards that are seen as efficient are used commonly, such as 700 wood or 2 falconets, both being near the top of their respective ages. But it can also reveal to us new possibilities and potential strategies, especially the extremely high value build around cards like Tupac Rebellion. It's just very cool to me to know that there's a massive payoff for playing into a certain weird strategy, and I may make videos dedicated to some of those in the future. And even besides the big flashy cards, who knew that Infinite 9 State Militia was higher value than 7 Sharpshooters? Keep in mind when using this list where the value is going, however. Advanced Frontier Defenses is absurdly strong, but mostly just defensive value, and doesn't often generate value against an enemy boom or turtle, while upgrade cards such as 7 Council Fires or the Russian Church card look extremely powerful, but aren't actually that impressive unless you're using those units that they upgrade. Also, just because it's high value technically speaking doesn't mean you have to send it. Keep in mind that the most value you can generate on the battlefield is going to come from micromanaging your units to attack the enemies that they counter. And if you're shipping units that don't counter your enemy's units, such as culverins against an enemy stuck in Age 2, then you're getting a lot less value than if you shipped a counter unit to the unit that you know they have. Information is also valuable. Making this list also made me realize it was useful to know what you can make with what resources. Whereas before, I would only focus on 1 or 2 resources for easy economy, now I have my backup plans in case I'm cut off of a natural resource that I wanted to use. Lastly, don't use this list to bash on people for using certain cards because they're quote-unquote low value. If you want to make helpful recommendations to your pals, feel free, but I don't want people going around stifling creativity or anything. Well, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and go crazy.